Awesome. I figured we can go ahead and get started. I'm hoping everyone can see my screen right now with our wonderful Step Up supervisor and a few Step Up interns from previous years. So thank you all so much for being here today. My name is Mariah Colucci. I am a Step Up Senior Employer Engagement Associate at Achieve Twin Cities. Just so you're all aware, we are recording this presentation just so the University of Minnesota has access to it and for those who weren't able to attend. So Step Up is all about preparing today's youth for tomorrow's careers. It is very critical that we look at some of the challenges within our communities today. The disparity between workers and the communities they serve, and the missed opportunities for organizations and their leaders in this community that are missing this diverse and untapped talent. Many of our organizations wrestle with these same challenges, questions of having enough talented workers now and in the future, how to continuously engage and recruit and support diverse candidates in joining your company, and how to respond to the moments we're living in today, and questions of how your organization or department can contribute to racial and economic justice in their communities. Taking a look at some equity gaps, the median wages for employees of color are 33% lower than wages of white workers in the Twin Cities. Taking a look at some of our regional talent needs, Black, Indigenous students of color are less likely to enroll in and complete post-secondary education, which actually leads to less BIPOC employees in career track jobs. It's very important to invest in our talented students. Per the Minnesota Department of Employment and Economic Development, a larger percentage of workers in Hennepin County worked in the same county that they live in, which is actually one of Step Up's deepest values, and we really want to keep building on the talent within the community. Also from DEED, we learned that in the fourth quarter of 2021, the 126,000 plus job vacancies submitted by employers really indicated this extensive opportunity in our region. Labor force growth has slowed in recent years, but moving forward, Hennepin County is expected to add nearly 7,000 workers within the next 10 years. This is why Step Up really exists, to be a solution to these challenges. Step Up connects Minneapolis young people ages 14 to 21 with Twin Cities employers through these incredible internships, training opportunities that build careers and lead to a more diverse, skilled, and equitable workforce. I don't know if I've covered this yet, but since Step Up has begun in the year 2003, the University of Minnesota has been with us since that year and has hosted 650 internships and will surpass that number this summer. So we really want to share more about this opportunity, and we will now hear a little bit more from previous supervisors and some of our executive champions about why they choose Step Up.
Yeah, Samurai, I don't think the sound's working.
There is no sound.
Sorry, just one second.
Oh, I was just gonna say, before you shared your screen, if you put optimize video and sound, I don't know if you clicked that or not.
Yes, my apologies. One second. Thank you all so much for being patient. Okay, please let me know if this is working.
This summer I was in the Minneapolis Chamber of Commerce. I was really excited to come here because I knew I would be going into like some type of marketing ways. So I'm trying to do marketing in college.
I'm working at Mercury Mosaics in the summer. They make handmade tile for like businesses, but also like people's homes and like stuff, bathrooms and kitchens and stuff like that.
I always knew I wanted to do some sort of medical career in a sense. And when I heard about this internship, I thought to myself, oh, this is perfect. And I was in shock because they had mentioned to me, they're like, hey, listen, we couldn't get you into an emergency room or something like that. And I was a little bit saddened by that. And they're like, instead, we got you in the OR. Would you be down to do something like that? And I was just starstruck by that.
I got connected into this internship because I heard about the media part of it and the whole like editing and recording and all that stuff. It sounded really fun.
I don't feel like an intern. Like everyone thinks an intern's like a little assistant that you just tell run around the whole place doing different tasks and stuff. But I feel like I felt part of the community, and I feel like I inspire many people every day whenever I talk about things and share my experiences throughout the city.
I chose the career exploration program because I was like deciding what to do with my summer, and I kind of wanted some more like flexibility. One thing that was really fun for me was like doing like the personality test and like doing like the career test. I thought that was like kind of fun.
My favorite aspect was that you can like work at your own pace. You don't have to wait for like in a group we have to wait for other people to get finished. You can work at your own pace.
It was a little intimidating at first, like really getting into like the workplace, but having the work readiness training with Step Up was really helpful. There was work readiness training where there's just like a bunch of different courses that we went through, like how to be prepared for an interview, like how to write a resume, which was really helpful for me. I've learned how to write an email, how to be professional, like workplace conflicts and stuff like that. So that was really helpful to prepare me for having a job this summer.
Step Up program will help you by giving you a job coach, giving you training modules, specific day classes in a sense that you would go to just to truly prep yourself with like resumes, job application stuff, how to truly work in environments like these that are more professional as a teenager.
I would say definitely give Step Up a try because it helps you build so many skills, and it just makes it's a really great opportunity and makes your resume look 10 times better than it already does if like they already have a job. And it's just like meeting new people and networking is also like a great opportunity to like in the future you'll have those people to look back to and all that type of stuff.
Awesome. Thank you all so much again for your patience. If you're just joining us now, we just watched a little video with a few experiences from previous interns, supervisors, and executive champions. I had the incredible opportunity to job coach some of these interns that were a part of this video. It's just incredible to see this talent that they bring to your workplace. All right, so I'm really hoping you're still able to see the presentation right now, but Step Up is here to really strengthen your community and department. By connecting your skills with talented and diverse young people in Minneapolis, Step Up really provides a way for you to contribute to solving our region's enormous equity gap and shocking regional workforce shortage. Step Up builds hope for the future by investing in the young people who will power our region for decades to come. Step Up is a long-term investment in our community, our economy, and our young people. Step Up is really an opportunity to invest in the next generation. This isn't just one way we'll be able to move one young person or one organization forward. It's a way we'll be able to lift the entire community. As mentioned before, Step Up does prepare today's young people for tomorrow's careers by recruiting, training, and placing nearly 1,400 young people each year in paid internships. Like it was said in the video, there is also a career exploration program that interns are available and allowed to participate in if they aren't selected for an internship. As one of the nation's leading youth employment programs, StepUp leverages a collective of more than 200 partners spanning 15 industries and multiple sectors. In 2020, we adapted to COVID-19's pandemic by offering more remote, hybrid, and paid online training options, as well as the traditional in-person internships, and will continue with this model in 2023. This past summer, we provided paid experiences for over 1,100 Minneapolis young people, making a total of $1 million, a little over $1 million, and some interns were actually able to earn academic credit as well. Some of the foundation work readiness training aligns with MPS's academic standards so that students are able to earn academic credit while exploring their career pathways and learning all the foundational skills needed to gain and succeed in their entry-level employment. I really want to emphasize that a lot of the Chief interns or StepUp interns gain additional training and work experience at StepUp's program level 1. So right now I'm really emphasizing what the level 2 program is, ages 16 to 21. That level 1 program that I just mentioned is ages 14 and 15. Historically, the University of Minnesota has partnered with level 2 program. So of course, we simply cannot do this without you and our amazing employers. Here's a look at a few of them. Xcel Energy, US Bank, Health Partners, General Mills, Minneapolis Public Schools, Target, mHealth Fairview, and the incredible University of Minnesota. StepUp is here to build the pipeline of talent as well as increase diversity in your department. We're living in a time which really calls for examination of how we can all contribute to racial and economic justice, in which many ask how they can contribute to combating racism and discrimination and also advance equity. Employers want their workforces to be reflective of their customer base or the populations that they serve. Diversity is able to bring fresh perspectives and new skills to your department. It's critical to provide these exposure opportunities to your company or industry so it's on the radar for these young people. 79% of our interns said their internships helped them really decide what career to pursue next. Oftentimes, many interns and employers decide to participate because they want to give back to the community, and also they're very interested in mentoring a young person. You can pass along your hard-won knowledge or introduce these young people to your profession and career. 91% of supervisors last summer said their interns made a very valuable contribution to their organization. StepUp interns are hired to absolutely get real work done. Here's some examples of the real work they can do, such as assisting with data management, event support, sorting and stocking samples, completing some inventory, and also analyzing data. We have so many resources, knowledge, and templates available for supervisors to utilize throughout the summer. And we also have job coaches available from the StepUp team that will be there to support you as a profession and also your intern. So taking a look at the StepUp 2023 employer timeline, you can absolutely get started now and begin planning internships with our team in your department. What this can look like right now, you can either send an email to Denise for specific University of Minnesota internal questions on what it kind of looks like on hiring a StepUp intern. But otherwise, I'm sure she would absolutely love if you did send me an email and I can provide you with more information too. So looking at our internship program dates, internships this summer will begin June 20th and conclude after 9 weeks on August 18th. So like I said, feel free to email me. I will put that in the chat. Otherwise, I am totally open to questions right now. I have my manager, Ashley Grell, here today too, in case there's any questions I might not have answers to. Thank you all so much for listening and for being here today.
Hi, Mariah. So there are a few questions in the chat, so great job. So there's a question about whether international students can apply for internships. And so I'm not sure if that question is related to international students who are college students at the University of Minnesota, or just international students in general. But our program is for 14 to 21-year-olds who live in Minneapolis. So most of our students who are participating in the program are in high school. We do have some interns who are not in high school, but for our program specifically, they cannot be enrolled in college. So that being said, if it's an international student who lives in Minneapolis, has a Minneapolis address, falls in that age range, and is not enrolled in college, they can be in PSEO. So if it's a PSEO student, that's okay. But yeah, then they would be eligible for our program. Most likely that way. And all of our interns have already been accepted to our program. So our application is closed. And so if it's a student that has already applied, they would have received an accepted email and are already on their next steps, which is their work readiness training. So hopefully that answers that question, but let me know. And then I know there's a bunch of other questions in here, which is so great. So could an intern serve as a teaching assistant for a college level or graduate course this summer as their internship? What about the privacy of the enrolled students? That first one, I don't know what that means and such. Another option is research assistant, where they would work with me on research related tasks. That's a great question. So yeah, again, these are largely 14 to 21-year-old students who maybe haven't had a job experience before. So some of them have had internships with us, or maybe some of those kind of entry-level positions that you might typically have in high school, like working as a barista or working in retail. So just keeping in mind that that's the kind of level of work experience that you're likely to see from these young people. And so having them work on tasks that are geared toward their work experience and their level, as well as, yeah, introducing them to what you do and allowing them to gain exposure to your work and your industry. And then in terms of privacy of the enrolled students, that I think might be a U of M question, which maybe is being answered. Oh yeah. Jasmine, did you want to jump in and talk about that and safety?
Hello, everyone. I'm Jasmine. I'm the Youth Safety and Compliance Manager for the University of Minnesota. So you'd be working with myself along with Denise and her team. So the question, sorry, I was gathering a date that I wanted to share with you. What is it about privacy?
Let me find this question again. Okay, yes, it's about what about the privacy of the enrolled students, FERPA and such? Is a question.
So all of these young people would fall under our safety of minors policy. So if they're under 18, you would have to abide by the rules for the University of Minnesota, which are pretty standard when working with a minor. And protecting their information is just like any other employee. You don't share information, you keep it in a locked space. I guess I'd need to know kind of more specifics about what that means with the privacy piece. But if you go to the safety of minors policy, we do have a section in there about health and safety requirements. And we're going to do a supervisor orientation for all of you to get you all on board. Today is really about getting you all excited and to be, to think about what are the possibilities within your department. I also wanted to mention that March 31st is a deadline approaching that you would need to submit a job description. So hopefully today is really prompting you to think about how can we utilize a young person, expose them to the university, increase their skills, etc. but start thinking about that March 31st deadline. And that was also sent out in the amazing email from the Office of Equity and Diversity and Denise's team. So there's a link in that email for you all to complete the job description.
Hi, everybody. This is Denise Diefenbach, and I just want to also thank you for taking the time to join us this morning. I'm going to put some information in the chat for you for future reference as it pertains specifically to the University of Minnesota sort of processes. But I did want to note, if Ashley, if you wouldn't mind, maybe just walk through that steps process for folks to actually hire an intern and the associated deadlines for that. And then we can maybe segue to some more specific University of Minnesota questions that might be lingering. Does that sound okay, folks?
Yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, I was just about to answer Rosemary's question, which relates to this too. Do we meet several students, or is a single intern get matched to our position? This is a great question. So as Jasmine mentioned, our deadline is March 31st for that job description form. And then after that, like I said, right now, our interns are going through their work readiness training, which Mariah talked more in depth about what that looks like. So that will be happening all throughout March. And I'll also link to an event we have coming up in April. Part of that work readiness training is mock interviews. So if you're interested in participating and volunteering in that event and meeting more young people that way, that is an option coming up in April as well. But then after all of that, training happens for interns and they are officially have made it through all the steps of our program. We will start our placement process in April, mid-April. And we do a one-to-one matching process. So that question about, will we get several students to interview for our position? The answer is no. We would match you directly with one student per position that you have. So that's a really good question, because I know that is a little bit different than hiring and different than other internship programs. So yeah, we will do that direct one-to-one match. And then you will receive that match sometime in May. So it's a rolling kind of basis matching process that we do. And for the university, I think we would try to get all matches to the U at the same time, because I know that then we want interns to be able to start their onboarding processes kind of around the same time as well and get communicated to about those steps. So that happens, yeah, in May. As I remember if it was Denise or Jasmine also mentioned, there will be a supervisor orientation as well. So focus a little bit more on working with young people who are more in that high school range. If that's not something that you've done before, it's also a good training. If you have never had the opportunity to supervise, we really have a lot of templates and things to really support you in that endeavor. So that happens in May, and then we would work with you to get students onboarded. I know communicating back and forth with students, especially when they're still in school, can be a little bit tricky. And so we support with that. And then we would, get students onboarded, hired, ready to start on June 20th. And I know there was another question in the chat about hours. So hours per week would be a minimum of 20, maximum of 40. Up to you, depending on what work you have, what makes sense. I know a lot of people in the summer like to do kind of like maybe a Tuesday through Thursday schedule, give themselves time on either end of the week. But I know it also depends on how much work you have for the intern. And then I know another common question, some other common questions are things like pay. The U of M would pay, and I know Denise will have some more information about resources that the university has for that, but we do require minimum wage, which in Minneapolis is $15.19 for this summer. And there was something else I was going to mention. Left me. But I think that covers, technology was the other piece. I know sometimes we get questions of, does StepUp provide technology? The answer to that would be no. That technology would need to come from you, or you just need to let us know if for some reason students would need to provide technology for their internships. was like a lot of information. I know there's even more questions in the chat, or some good.
Ashley, while you're looking at the chat, I just wanted to address, I think earlier there was a question about student confidentiality, and my interpretation of the question was if you have a step-up intern working in your office and they have access to University of Minnesota student information, you know, what's the expectation around confidentiality? And so I just wanted to mention, if I'm correct in my assumption on that question, the Step Up program has a participation agreement, which is sort of a contract agreement of expectations for maintaining confidentiality and other things. And that document, there's one document for the university. So multiple departments are all covered essentially by that document. And we'll provide that document with you to share with your intern once they've been hired, of course, and you're onboarding them, so that you kind of walk through it so that they understand what the expectations are as it pertains to that. So I don't know if that answers the question, but folks, feel free to just raise your hand perhaps if you want to. I'd love to get some more voices here, and we can certainly, you can certainly ask your question, and then we can have more of an exchange that way, if folks want to do it that way. So hopefully that was helpful. Ashley, what else have you seen there in the chat?
Yeah, so thank you so much for adding that, for sure. So some other questions that I've seen, there's a question about, we work hybrid. Is it fine to only have the student come into the office, like work when we're in the office? And that is completely okay. That's also up to you. So we will have remote, hybrid, and in-person opportunities. And I know for some people, like the idea of having an intern also work hybrid is a little intimidating. You have to be really, really organized for that. And so having them come in person, I know some people also feel that the experience will just be better that way, and that's completely fine. We want you to do what's going to work best for you. I did link to mock interviews. So I know there was a question about volunteer opportunities. I'll also see if I can find our level 1 part of our program, which is for 14, 15-year-olds. We'll have placement days, and that might be another opportunity to connect with young people. And then at Achieve, we also have Ed Talk events. So that could be a way to engage as well if you're interested in more of that. And then I think there was a question, do interns have to be over 18 to work? I know there are some jobs that do require interns to be 18 plus. So that is something that comes up for us sometimes. So if that's the case for you, we just need a solid justification for them needing to be 18, which I know some workspaces have. And so you would indicate that on your job description form. And then, yes, the minimum pay rate again is $15.19 per hour. I know it's a very weird number, it's like weird inflation percentage for this year. The max pay rate is up to you. So you can pay more than that if that's an option for your company. And then Denise, I know Mark asked about, does the salary for the intern come out of the department's budget? That's a yes, right?
Yeah, I was going to say, I was in the process of typing, but yes, the funding, if any department that hires an intern this summer, it will be responsible for covering the cost of hiring that intern. We do have an opportunity for folks who might need some funding support that we'll provide. The Office of Equity and Diversity will provide up to $10 per hour plus fringe towards that salary. I believe, include the link to the funding request form. So just fill that out. And we have limited funds available, and we will be selecting, honoring those requests on a first come, first served basis. So it'll be important to get that in as soon as you can. And obviously, if you request funding before you've even been placed with an intern, I'll note the date that you did that, but obviously we're going to approve based on who actually is placed with an intern. And that, let's see, what did we'd like ideally if you could submit your request for funding. Sorry, I'm trying to find the date. Basically in March, not long after the JDF forms are due on the 31st. And so if you can get those supplement requests in soon after, that would be ideal. I think there was another question. Somebody, I think in St. Paul, wanted to know if they would be able to hire an intern, and the answer to that is absolutely yes. So there's no, if you live in St. Paul, you're welcome to participate in the program. Am I right on that, Ashley? Actually, I better pause.
Yes, yeah. So if you're in St. Paul,
like your students, if sorry.
I was gonna say the employer can be in St. Paul. Our students do have to come from Minneapolis, and yeah, just mentioning that they will largely rely on public transportation. So ideally, it's a place that is accessible by public transportation, which I know isn't always the case. Yeah, so but that yeah, we do have employers that are outside of Minneapolis, so that is an option. And Denise, I don't know if this question makes sense to you, but Susan had a question of does the open concept workplace mean we need interns to be 18?
I would say that is a question. I think it's absolutely possible, but it falls into sort of the category of working, safety in minors, and that being, the background checks that are required. So, Jasmine, maybe you can speak more to this. I know that, you policy, we don't want, if anyone who's going to be working one-on-one with a minor has to have a background check. So that's one piece. And then the other is that I'm going to pause and just let Jasmine take this question.
Yeah, so if, I hope folks can jump on the safety of minors policy for the university. You just Google it, it'll pop up. And we do have a section about ratios and privacy and working one-on-one. The main thing is we don't want a young person alone with an adult. And I know sometimes that gets tricky, but the main thing, is it observable and interruptible? So if you're working with a young person, is it in an open space where people can hear and see, or is it in a room with the door shut and the windows have the shades down, right? So we really go into explicit detail in our policy along with the health and safety requirements. So when you go into the policy under health and safety requirements, you have to click. I apologize for that. And then another page will pop up with more details on what we mean by that. So as long as the interaction, again, is observable, interruptible, people can hear and see what's happening, it's probably okay. We like to steer folks away from one-on-one interaction. That's just kind of common best practice when working with a minor. I do know that gets a little tricky in employment situations. That's more designed for a youth program. So we can work through kind of all those different scenarios. We'll go through that more in the orientation. But keep that in mind when you're thinking about your job description, right? So, and some of those safety precautions are also put in place to keep you safe. It's very rare. It's only 4%, but sometimes there are false accusations. And so we also want to keep all of our staff safe as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that information, Jasmine. I know we're at time right now, so thank you all for staying a little bit longer. If it's helpful, I'd love to share some of the departments who have participated previously or interns positions, if that's helpful. Some interns have been front desk assistants. A few interns have worked for Lions Gift of Sight as a quality system support specialist. We've had digital marketing interns here at the U of M. health sciences library interns, research assistants. We've had some interns working in the labs here as well at the university. So if you have specific questions regarding your department, if it's helpful, of course, Denise and I are here to answer those.
And yes, Jasmine, agree. Mark, yes to both of those questions as well. Those are really great questions to ask. So just about whether shorter days would be more recommended. Yeah, I think most likely. That being said, students are used to school, but they aren't maybe quite used to work yet. And then, yes, if you can allow interns to take a vacation, we do often have interns who go on like a week vacation or something, typically in the summer. So thank you for asking. And sorry, Mariah, I know you're trying to wrap up and I'm like,
And I would just add, Mark, it's a great opportunity to teach them about planning ahead, you know, putting it in a note in their notice, and it, you know, it can be just like us as adults. We need to plan ahead and request that time off. So
thanks, Jasmine. And also, Klassen, that's a great question. If you have less than 20 hours worth of work a week, we do encourage interns to work a minimum of 20 hours a week and a maximum of 40. But if they're in between that 15 and 20 hour mark as well, that's okay too. Yeah. We just want to make sure they're really getting real experience as an employee here. And of course, we really emphasize that you are supporting this intern, really providing them that mentorship throughout the entire summer. What that can look like is job shadowing opportunities, professional development opportunities, connecting them to other departments they might have interest working in, all the things.
And as Ashley has said, this was a lot of information, so just know that we're all here to answer questions. We'll link this recording to the OED webpage that has more information about the Step Up program, and it will also include Ashley and Mariah's contact information and Jasmine's as well. So please don't be shy. If you have any questions, make sure you reach out. We'd be happy to talk to you and answer any questions that you have.
Yeah, my name is Maria, and I'm an international advisor from Office of International Students and Scholars here at the University of Minnesota. I'm also volunteering as a chair at the Minnesota International Educators Organization, and we have the bi-monthly meetings at our organization, and we kind of the organization that support all K-12 through colleges and universities across Minnesota and some part of Wisconsin, I think. So I just would like to ask if you would be interested in presenting for wider audience across the Minnesota educational institutions like colleges and K-12, because the range of the interns that you offer the programs for is about 14 to 21. So I think most of our advisors are international advisors, but I know that they work at the colleges and again, some international schools, high schools. So I just would like to offer you some opportunity to, you know, talk about your organization to this particular audience. And if you're interested, I can drop off my email in the chat so we can, or if you can tell me who would be better for me to contact, I can also send a quick email to consider to discuss more. So just some suggestion from my side.
Maria, that's so great. Thank you so much. Ashley, I figure since she's my manager, I think she might have more to say. But thank you so much for introducing that to us. Sounds great.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you could drop your email in the chat, I think it would be a great conversation for our program and then the other programs that we have at Achieve as well. I think a joint meeting would be great.
I just really quickly, I want to address Margaret's question. Once an intern is matched up with the department, then does the department work directly with the intern to get all the paperwork we need to get the intern on payroll, do the vaccination proof submission, etc.? And the answer is yes. Once you've made your match, then it'll be up to each individual supervisor and their department working with their HR representative to take care of all of the onboarding and new hire paperwork. So completing the I-9, required background checks, etc. All of that information will be included in the supervisor orientation that we'll be hosting in May. You know, very detailed information. So that invitation will go out to all supervisors who've been matched with an intern. So you can look for that, but you're certainly welcome to reach out to me via email if you would like to chat about that prior to. One other important note I want to make, I almost forgot, any of the departments that are in the medical school, they also have funding support. And so I don't know, Dia, if you're on the here with us right now, but we can provide contact information for those departments as well. And it's not a twofer. You either get the funding support from the medical school or you'll get it from OED, just so you know.
Wonderful. Thank you, Denise. I think Dia's on here if they wanted to pop on at all. Otherwise, I know we are way over time. So thank you all so much for your patience, for rolling with us today. We're very excited about working and partnering with the university again this summer to surpass the amazing 650 internships. Thank you all so much for being here today.
Thank you, Ashley, Mariah. Take good care, everybody.
Bye, Denise.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Jasmine.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jasmine.
Appreciate it.